on record and putting blame on the BJP leaders because they were the people who instigated people to go ahead and burst these crackers. So yes, the political blame game has already started. But if you speak about the AQI has definitely deteriorated post-Diwali, but it is not as bad as it was over the last many years, right after the day of Diwali. Currently, I am reporting from Akshardham temple, where I could just show you in the visuals around here that yet again today a cloud of smog has yet again engulfed the national capital. Remember, over the weekend we saw that there were spells of rain, which meant that the AQI in the national capital had improved significantly. But post-Diwali, yet again we are seeing that the AQI in the national capital has yet again deteriorated. The main reason behind this is being said to be the manner in which the norms were flouted by the residents of the national capital even after the orders of the Supreme Court, which meant that there was a blanket ban on bursting of any sort of crackers. That was flouted significantly out here in the national capital, and that is the reason why we are seeing that the AQI out here has yet again deteriorated. Over the next few days, the IMD predicts that the AQI might improve due to the wind conditions, but if you look at the longer run over the next 1 week, the AQI is yet again going to get back into the severe category, which means that it is yet again going to be a troublesome time for the people out here in the national capital region, where yet again they would be forced to breathe in the toxic air. Now what remains to be seen as to what
Viewers, the opposition has always needed a cause célèbre, a controversial issue to make a case against the Modi government. In 2016, and I'll take your memory back to 8 years, the opposition got a big issue. In February of that year, 3 students shot into the national limelight. Their names are Kanhaiya Kumar, Umar Khalid and Shehla Rashid. They were accused of chanting slogans in favor of terrorist Afzal Guru in Jawaharlal Nehru University. They were booked by the police, by the Delhi police for sedition, and the crackdown was condemned by the opposition that said that in Modi's India, freedom of speech was dead. The opposition, particularly the left and the Congress, virtually adopted the 3 as their party mascots. Kanhaiya Kumar even joined the Congress party. Several so-called intellectuals of the left ecosystem returned their commendations and state awards to protest the case filed against the trio. The biggest left-centered brands in international journalism rallied to their support. Kumar, Rashid and Khalid were quickly dubbed dissenters, who were the only ones standing up to the alleged fascism of the Modi government. It was all said, viewers, you'll remember this. Buoyed by all the support and publicity, the 3 viscerally attacked the Prime Minister from every available platform. Shehla Rashid was particularly harsh and used her Kashmiri identity to telling effect, creating a larger fake narrative of Muslim victimization and ostracization under Modi rule. Today, almost 8 years down, in a tell-all interview, Rashid has done a massive double take. Rashid is now singing the Prime Minister's praises and is admitting that she was wrong about Modi's alleged exclusivism. Not only has she praised the Prime Minister for being the most inclusive Indian politician, but she has also commended his commitment to the national interest. Listen in, viewers.
It actually doesn't matter what we do, because the state needs to have the will to take action, to take some bold actions, and for that, I really congratulate. I am, really impressed by how the government of India has handled the whole Kashmir situation, because I used to think that I've said a lot of things about the BJP, I've said a lot of things about the PM, the HM, but look at them, like they've taken so much criticism domestically. Internationally, India has been castigated for the abrogation, but they took all that criticism on them. And it doesn't make sense to me why somebody would, make such a risky, unpopular, whatever you want to call it, decision. And I've arrived at one conclusion, which is what caused my change of heart also. I've realized that the Honorable Prime Minister, the Home Minister, they are really selfless people who only care about the national interest. No matter how much I know how much criticism we've made of the government, how much criticism the government faced internationally, domestically from the opposition. Why would anyone take so much criticism, if it weren't for the national interest? And it has ended up serving the national interest. And of course, I understand it's not a deontological position, it's a consequentialist position that, now we are judging the actions. But certainly, I should not continue to believe that I am the Miss Know-all. Maybe some people, they have a better reading of the situation. They've taken certain steps. And has it resulted in saving of human lives in Kashmir? It has. Has it resulted in progress, development? It has. Has it resulted in us enjoying better freedoms, like now children can go to the play area at the mall? These are very superficial things, but actually they aren't. Now there is sports infrastructure. There is a Kashmiri in the cricket team, and there are Kashmiris, they're doing very well in the Asian Games. That should be crystal clear right now, is that Kashmir is not Gaza. There is Gaza is walled off from Israel. There is they need work permits. Do we need work permits to work in India? No. We are full citizens of the country. We can work anywhere we want. We can take property anywhere we want. There are some schemes. There is, for example, PM Kisan Nidhi Samman Yojana and PM Mudra Yojana. More than 1/3 of the beneficiaries are Muslims, right? More than 1/3. Like our population percentage may be whatever, 14-17%, but more than 33% of the beneficiaries are Muslims. So there is no systematic discrimination. There is no exclusion of Muslims from the system. Yeah, ab ye hoga, koi appeasement nahi hoga. There won't be any special treatment just because you're a Muslim. You cannot expect that.
Now, Shehla Rashid was speaking at a video podcast with Smita Prakash of ANI viewers, and that video, as you know, is going viral, or those clips are going viral from that video interview. And she's very articulate, and she comes across as being very articulate. She's always been at least articulate, but at one time, her words were very vitriolic, and she poured them liberally on Modi and the BJP for years altogether. Let me jog your memory. August 22nd, 2019. She says torture and gross human rights violations are happening in Kashmir under Modi rule. August 7, 2019. We will fight abrogation of Article 370 legally and politically. Today in that interview, viewers, she welcomes the risky steps that the Prime Minister has taken. June 17th, 2016, Modi government curbing the voice of India's students. That's what she was saying. Modi government forcibly imposing yoga on Indians. JNU can teach Modi government progressive politics, she said. In 2018, centre has completely failed the people of India. Farmers are committing suicide. Youth are jobless. Students ask questions and our government can't stand it. Government is obsessed with wiping out the opposition. Government working towards a perverted Hindu Rashtra. Government is anti-poor, anti-Dalit and anti-thinking. These are her words, viewers. Very well publicized words, some of them spoken in interviews to various news channels, especially those that at that time wanted to give her a platform as the token voice of dissent in this country. Now, Rashid's change of heart has stunned the opposition into silence. Remember, the India Alliance is contesting the 2024 elections by vowing to reunite or Jodo Bharat, in their words, which they claim is broken by the alleged divisive hate politics of the Modi-led NDA. Now, with the opposition's one-time mascot now endorsing Prime Minister Modi's commitment to Sabka Saath, will voters expectedly be more skeptical of the India bloc's continuous tirade against NDA's alleged communal outlook? Well, the answer to that question will be known only in 2024. But for now, let's recall the attacks the opposition has made against the NDA. All this time, Rahul Gandhi, earlier this year, what's happening to Muslims in India happened to Dalits in 1980s. And there's Shehla Rashid, who Rahul Gandhi once shared a stage with, that is giving Mr. Modi a complete certificate. Not that he needs it from her, but just to contrast her change of heart on inclusivity. April 29th, 2022, Asaduddin Owaisi said Modi government, BJP have declared a war against Indian Muslims. Here Shehla Rashid is going completely against their line. 2021, Shashi Tharoor, persecution of Muslims gradually normalized by Modi government. In 2019, March, Sitaram Yechuri, CPM strongman, said deepening alienation of Kashmiri youth under the Modi government. Shehla Rashid is a Kashmiri who's now clearly disavowing us of that kind of an impression that Sitaram Yechuri was trying to convey. In 2014, Mamata Banerjee said Modi government's sole mission is to divide Hindus and Muslims. But how does this rhetoric measure up against the hard facts? Here are some statistics that suggest that the opposition campaign lacks bite. Perhaps it has always lacked bite. Let me take you through, viewers, the facts, the hard facts, and I always bring these hard facts to you so you can get closer to the truth, so that you're better equipped to argue and debate amongst your own friend circle. We are very divided today, viewers, so people will always come out and say, look, don't do this whitewashing. Now you have the facts, viewers, and I'm going to run you through them. Let's look at the policies. 31% of 2.31 crore houses built under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana have been allocated in 25 minority-dominated areas. 33% of the beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi are minorities, viewers. This would not be happening in a purported Hindu Rashtra, where one community is getting privileged over everyone else and where there is exclusivism to the point where other minorities are reduced to second-class citizens. No, here, viewers, they are getting much beyond their abadi. And Rahul Gandhi says, Jitni abadi utna haq. Well, here is an example of the haq being greater than the abadi. 37% of beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana are minorities. 36% beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana are minorities. Look at electricity access. Most improvement among the poorest 20% of Muslim households, reaching 71% of them. Bank account access rose from 74% to 1993, and we are talking between 2015-16 to 2019-2021. Largest gain seen in Muslim community. Mobile phone access, Muslim and Hindu clusters achieved 37 and 33% respectively, viewers. It's there on your screens. Toilet facilities, 48% between 2019 to 2021 for the poorest 20% of households. Sikhs and Muslims surpassed 50% target achievement. Water access on premises increased from 63% to 68% 2015-16 to 2019-21 for Muslims. 7% rise under NDA in minorities securing government scholarships between 2014 and 2019. So under the UPA, and now 7% rise. Let's go to our big debate. Is the lobby bubble bursting? We didn't need Shehla Rashid to tell us, but it helps, viewers, because she's one of them. She was at least one of them. She's had some sort of epiphany. Is she now really speaking the truth that at one time she deliberately chose not to? Was that agenda? And what about those that are pushing that agenda even today, the benefactors or the inheritors? Is their argument, their agenda today bursting? That debate, viewers, we're going to see right now, being brought to you by Motorola. Let's open it up right after.
Hello, Moto.
Viewers, let's just open this up. We have no time to lose. We have a exceptionally well-read panel this evening. There's the National Conference's leader also, Nilofer Masood, and I just hope we can keep it civil. We can speak rather than speak at each other, we can speak to each other. That would be nice. Let's not interrupt each other. Let's get everyone's point of view in. We can all differ, we can all agree to disagree, no problems. But let's get each other's point of view on the table. And then we can come for referrals, etc., and reviews, etc. Now, I want to begin with Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, look, I'm a cynic by nature. I'm very skeptical. I will buy in happily to this narrative that Shehla Rashid has been paid thousands and thousands of crores to start now parroting Modi's propaganda about himself. Let's for a moment suspend belief and believe it. But can you imagine, Dr. Ranganathan, the risk she's taking? She still lives in Kashmir. She hasn't flown off to, London. She's not in Cambridge and Oxford in a very comfortable sinecure or the head of some international Indian mission. She's sitting in Kashmir. She could get a bullet right between her eyes for what she's saying, and you know that place. You know that place. So, Dr. Ranganathan, yes, we can be skeptical, but also today I think we're seeing that someone's jaundiced vision is clearing up. The cataract has gone.
Good evening, Rahul. Look, if you're a cynic, then I'm even, what shall I say, a better cynic than you. But if at all there is a phrase like that, rather than her being given thousands of crores for this volte-face, there could also be a possibility that she's about to be raided by the CBI or the ED. No, but to be honest with you, look, I congratulate her, Ms. Rashid, because this was the true test and she's passed with flying colors. She is now a consummate politician. Unless or until a politician in his or her adult life with senses in his or her control does not take a U-turn, that person isn't a politician. So congratulations, Ms. Rashid, because look, it's not happened for the first time and it won't be for the last time. There are she might even join the BJP. Who knows? These are all theories that have yet to, bear fruit. But the fact of the matter is that if she joins the BJP, she wouldn't be the first person who has called Modi a mass murderer and then joined the BJP. She wouldn't be the first person. In fact, she didn't. But the people who alleged that 2611 was an RSS conspiracy are now in BJP. The people who coined the phrase saffron terror are now in BJP. The people who castigated Modi and Shah till the cows came home are all in BJP right now. So, that wouldn't surprise me. And as far as trusting is concerned, I am sorry. I mean, I cannot trust a person. Yes, you can hate, you can abuse Modi. He's also a politician, or Shah or someone. But if you, kind of throw abuses and slander and falsehood at the Indian army, say that the Indian army is responsible for committing terrorist acts, especially in the wake of Article 370 being quote-unquote abrogated, as she falsely alleged. If you say that Burhan Wani was not a terrorist and was murdered through an act of extrajudicial killing, I think you've crossed a line. You're no longer a politician who's allowed to take a U-turn and then join whichever party he or she wants to. You're making anti-India statements. So I repeat here, Kashmir has always been a snakes and ladders game. The ladders are provided by Pakistan and the snakes are provided by India. And howsoever, hatred, howsoever much hatred you may have for Modi, there is something called data and there is something called facts. So if you are without agenda, you can still say, oh, look, I wasn't aware of these facts and I'm sorry, I was too young then, and then I became an adult and then I realized, but she wasn't. So how could she not have known that before 2014? There were 20,000 minorities who were skill trained, 5% with government jobs, 3 crores with scholarships, 70% girls' school dropout rate. And how could she not have known that after 2014, when Modi came into being, 2 million minorities were skill trained, 10% had government jobs, 5 crores had scholarships, free UPSC coaching, 30% girls' school dropout rate. Modi gave more scholarships to Muslims than Manmohan Singh. Modi gave more houses under Awas Yojana, more funds under Kisan Samman Nidhi, more beneficiaries under Mudra Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Shadi Shagun scheme, exclusively for Muslim girls. Everything that Modi has done, he has done more for Muslims than any other prime minister previously to him. So you mean to say that she suddenly realized it? And as I say, good luck to her. She is on the first step. She's crossed that Rubicon to becoming a successful politician. As far as trusting is concerned, I won't trust her like I won't expect anybody to trust me when somebody keeps a packet of Mysore Pak in front of me and closes the door for a day.
Well, it's good to start off with skepticism. So, viewers, we are setting this debate up by being skeptical only because of the track record and the extreme views, unknowingly or knowingly, that were professed by Shehla Rashid. But, viewers, that doesn't mean that people cannot have a very late epiphany, and it could just be extremely organic. You can change your mind, and it can happen. Now, let me tell you a few facts. She isn't with the BJP, at least not as yet. There are no elections scheduled as of yet. We don't even know if there will be elections soon enough. There are enough people still who are, as you know, viewers, massively skeptical in the valley of what the Prime Minister is doing. Then there's safety in numbers, because some people say there are many more of them who have not raised their heads. So, Shehla Rashid could have been very happily part of that rank. There are also a large number of them who still continue to take various sinecures from the Indian government at taxpayers' expense, but still harbor a separatist mindset. So that is also something that she could have continued to do. So she doesn't really need to jump from one side to the other and risk all of this. As she says, Modi has risked so much. She also doesn't need to risk, as I said, a bullet, viewers. It's interesting because, you know, the PDP, even when it was with the BJP, if you remember, viewers, never resiled on some of its most core beliefs, like continuing with showing separatists and treating them with kids' gloves, talking about how it is important for greater autonomy for Kashmir, even when it was with the BJP. 370, it never really talked about scrapping that either. So, viewers, yes, there could be wheels within wheels, but here is somebody who is at least sticking their neck out and coming through. And she's put her neck quite far out beyond the parapet. So, you know what happens when you do that. Sartan say, you know, that can happen. So, I don't want to complete that phrase, but credit goes to her for doing so. But one thing that has come through, and I'm not really going into her motivations or the lack of them, I just want to focus on the issue at hand, which is this recognition that Modi is inclusive. And Dr. Raman, today you will have to agree, because the statistical evidence is there for us. This is not some apartheid state that, you know, we are told after the CA was passed or Article 370 was abrogated, etc. This is certainly not that. Muslims are given great dignity. In fact, Muslim women have been bestowed with dignity by the Modi government that pushed for a very critical change in legislation. So are we now finally going to see perhaps this bubble bursting, this fake news bubble bursting, Dr. Raman, about the BJP not living up to Sabka Saath and its promise of inclusivity?
Yeah, Rahul, elections are around the corner for 5 states, so therefore there is a need to appear more inclusive at this point of time.
Wow.
Now we'll have to wait and see what happens after the election. But I'm coming to the matter of Shehla Rashid herself. If I remember right, it was January or February that the LG in Delhi gave sanction for prosecuting her in a case where Dr. Ranganathan mentioned about the statement she made about the Indian Army. Subsequently, there was earlier a sedition case. There was another case which was, if I remember right, in Uttarakhand. So there have been a number of cases which have been filed, which she faces. So it is possible that the expected heat from them may have helped her to see the light, as it were, as she says now. The other point, Rahul, is also the fact that, it will be interesting if we actually got to see who are the people she spoke to, who are the people she met over the last month or so. You remember there was another case also, Shah Faisal, the IAS officer, who was then reinstated after all the things that he said and did. But once he had a change of heart, he is now back in service. So this is not something that I see as extremely surprising.
Okay.
Some of, for Shehla, she may also have seen where Umar Khalid continues to be after so many years without a trial. So I think all of these will help concentrate the mind wonderfully and will help, the heart in its process of, change or reform, as you call it.
You are even more of a skeptic than Dr. Ranganathan. So I think today, viewers, let me tell you one thing, that there's a competition between our panelists for being more skeptical than each other. I don't know. I think you're right now in the lead right now, Dr. Aman. But let me tell you, look, Shehla Rashid is not being tried for sedition right now. Kanhaiya Kumar, look at his example. He's today a flourishing politician. She's not a politician as yet. And he's actually part of the Congress party, doing very well. In fact, he's taken from one state to the other. So it hasn't melted him. And Tehseen Poonawalla will tell you there are several others, very top-notch leaders, as he constantly says, like Robert Vadra, certainly haven't joined the BJP. Might, but if you go by the skeptics here. But tell me something, I want to understand this, Sushil Pandit. Forget about Shehla Rashid right now. Does the BJP need, and let's talk the issue out. I don't care about Shehla Rashid's U-turn, this, that, the other. But does the BJP really need to pay money to people today to recognize or give them sinecures that it is inclusive? Does it really need to do that?
Hello Rahul, thank you for including me in this show. Well, BJP may not need this because if they are doing what they are doing to be genuinely inclusive, then to win elections, just doing is not enough. To be seen as inclusive enough, especially to the voters who have been queuing up to give them a rout in the election after election after election, it is of course a huge pressure. Which is why the minority cell within BJP, if you have to see their Twitter handle and the tweets, you will see how from the rooftops they are screaming how we have been doing a lot more than all the Congress governments put together in the last 60 years for the minorities, for the Muslims in particular. So I won't be surprised if tomorrow Zakir Naik is persuaded to say so what Shehla Rashid is saying. And Zakir Naik indeed has alleged that he was approached by some people, well-meaning people, to consider an offer to come back to India with no cases, no charges, only if there is some kind of an endorsement for the current government and its leadership.
Are you saying,
so
let me just ask you this, one second, are you saying, Sushil Pandit, that Mr. Modi operates in an extremely transactional way and only if you praise him can you actually get off the hook? Is that what you're saying? Let's understand this because this is an important point. I think all our spokespeople, all our panelists tonight are seemingly suggesting that. So let me ask them all once again. Dr. Ranganathan,
No.
Does Modi transact with people? Look, I'll give you something, you say something nice about me, your problems will go away. Quick, let's go quick, one by one to everybody. Dr. Ranganathan, Modi is transactional. He wants to hear good things and he's going to restore you or get you off the hook if you say nice things. Is that what it is? Quick one, sir.
I don't think it's just for saying nice things, but yes, he transacts.
He transacts. Okay, Modi is transactional. So anyone, even abroad viewers today, comes out and praises India or what Modi is doing has been bought. That's the implication. Okay, Mr. Pandit, is that the implication? So it's all a jumla?
No.
People are paid to say nice things?
I'm afraid not.
Not? Okay. Third,
much as
Suman
you
C.
would
Raman,
like to bait
Dr.
me
Raman.
into it, Rahul,
One second. Let's go one by one. This is a very important issue.
Let me make a point, Rahul.
I think you're
Rahul,
making
let
very
me make a
important points.
point.
No, you made a point. Let me open this up.
Rahul.
Let me open this up.
No, I
One
didn't.
second. Are you saying tonight that,
Rahul,
okay, transactions
all
are
we
happening?
need- all
Okay,
we
yes.
need to do,
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Raman, go ahead.
all we need to do tonight is to look at the long list of leaders from opposition parties
Okay.
who have joined the BJP
So
and have
Modi,
become
Modi's
putrefied.
transactional
If
to
this
the
is not
core.
transactional,
He's not doing
I
any
don't know
good
what
work. It's all now paid publicity. He's actually even beating Kejriwal. Is that what I'm supposed to think after having heard
That's
all
not-
of you?
that's
Anyone
not
who
what any of
changes,
us said.
anyone who goes from Modi's,
Rahul,
no, hang on, one
Rahul.
second. Anyone who joins Modi's BJP from any other party is doing so because they're A, under
Rahul, this is
pressure,
unfair.
B, no, it's not unfair. This is what you're saying. He's either under pressure or has been promised
No, what
something.
I
So-
know what I'm saying, so
Okay.
let me say
Okay.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Okay, Mr. Pandit. Yeah.
me
come
say
in.
what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to get into somebody's mind and actually point out the exact motivations for doing what he's doing.
Okay.
What you can see is only the facts. And the facts remain that Shehla Rashid was part of the Tukde Tukde gang.
Right.
And she joined Shah Faisal's party
Yes.
when Shah Faisal said that Imran Khan should be given a Nobel Prize
Sure.
for normalizing relations between India and Pakistan.
Sure.
Now it is these two people today who've crossed over to the other side without giving a cogent reason. Isn't
They
there a
are.
room
She's
to doubt
saying
as
that
to
I've
what has
woken
happened?
up. I actually was misled by a lot of people into thinking, I don't know if you heard the whole interview, but
She
my
was the
mind was
president
clouded.
of JNU SU. She
Yes.
was AISA
So would you not
president.
say, if you are
AISA president is the
indoctrinated
offshoot
by...
of Maoist
So one second,
CPI,
Mr.
ML.
Pandit. So one second, Mr. Pandit. So if you're indoctrinated by a organization of far leftists, radical leftists, as some people have called them in the past, is it possible that you could perhaps have been brainwashed? Is it possible, Mr. Pandit? And now, cold reflection...
She hasn't come out with the critique of what she believed in earlier.
Okay, you haven't
She
watched the
hasn't
entire
given
interview.
out a critique of what she believed in earlier.
Okay. I think maybe you need to listen to the whole interview because she does go into a lot of... because she's asked about what she'd said in the past and how she now realizes that perhaps some of the things that she said are not were not obviously substantiated by the facts. So, okay. Let me now go across to the National Conference leader as also Tehseen Poonawala. Nilofer Masood, if tomorrow Modi were to come to you and say, look, I'll give you this, that, the other, मैं आपको chief minister बना दूंगा BJP का, will you change sides? Will you drop and join the BJP and start singing the praises of the Prime Minister?
Rahul, never on earth. I'm not going to muzzle my voice. What I feel, what the Shehla Rashid has done today, I think it has proved that a single phrase of praise can in fact whitewash your anti-national tag. I think if she has descendant voice has been given the job in Jammu and Kashmir, then it's equally true than the cases which have been lodged against all those employees who have been thrown out of the services. They should be given free hand to come in and they should be taken back in their services. Because she once was, in fact, I have heard much in the media about the ex-poster girl, Tukde gang. And it's the media who gave her such an hype. And today, this is the same media who is saying that she has praised now Prime Minister Modi. And I think she has got the prize for that by getting employment in the Jammu and Kashmir. And if it is so, then I think we need to understand that the situation in the J&K is very differently being treated. So it's right time, I think people should see the double standards which are on the face of it and perceive proves what Shehla
So
Rashid
just
has
extending
done in the
that
past.
logic, because a lot of what she has said, like the fact that Afzal Guru, for example, was executed by the judiciary, really, judicial execution, are things that a large number of mainstream politicians from the National Conference and the PDP have said earlier too. So
See,
are you
Rahul,
saying, one second, just 1 second. So are you saying tomorrow, if she shares the same views, then that disqualifies people like Omar Abdullah, etc., from either working for the Indian state or being elected again? Because Ms. Masood, those are anti-national sort of words.
See, Rahul.
You're calling an
it's not a
anti-national
question
for
of
saying,
disqualifying.
for
See,
saying
see,
that, for saying that, for saying those slogans in JNU. So that's what I'm asking. And those JNU slogans are were repeated at least in Kashmir quite ad nauseum, especially about Afzal Guru.
See,
So I'm
Rahul,
asking you.
she's the same girl who had instituted a case against the abrogation of the article in the Supreme Court, and she's the same person who withdraw it before the Honorable
Yeah,
Supreme Court.
no, hang on.
No.
She says in this interview that she didn't have all the facts. And when someone walked her through the rationale behind doing so.
Does she mean?
One
does
second.
she mean that she
Let me
was such
finish.
an immature person that she was not understanding?
You know,
what
madam,
she's
she
doing?
could have been brainwashed. There are enough people who have
Brainwashed
crossed
by
over
whom?
onto the dark
Brainwashed
side.
by
Well,
whom?
the ecosystem.
It's very easy to say that I'm being brainwashed.
No,
It's
I'll
very
tell you,
easy.
Miss Masood.
Tomorrow
Miss
somebody will
Masood.
come and say that I'm being
Miss Masood,
brainwashed.
will you
Are
agree
you going
today?
to make him the chief
No,
minister
I'm
of Jammu
asking
and
you,
Kashmir?
will you agree? Will you agree today with me when I say that the abrogation of Article 370 was a necessity because it was an instrumentality of communalism? It distinguished between people.
It was never an instrumentality of communalism.
There you go, viewers. That
We
proves my
believe in
case.
secularism.
That
We still
completely
believe in
proves my
secularism.
case. She is
We
so
believe
much
in
a part of an
secularism. It was
ecosystem that
never- it
believes
was
that
never
Article
like that, what you are
370
putting before,
was
projecting things.
part of.
She believes Burhan Wani was
How?
a terrorist. Please ask
How?
her.
Yeah.
Please
How
ask
it
her.
was?
Let me
How
ask
it
her that
was?
too. Do you believe that Burhan Wani was a terrorist, ma'am?
This is only the line which you ask the panelists.
No, I'm
you
asking
invite
you.
them and tell them, please say
See,
who
there you
was
go.
Burhan Wani. I need not to give any
So viewers,
certificate
by
whether
this
I'm a patriotic
yardstick,
or not.
if
I don't need it.
if
I
tomorrow
don't need
Miss
it.
Masood, one second, if tomorrow Miss Masood,
I believe Jammu Kashmir is an issue which needs to be resolved within the constitution of our India.
that's good.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
good. So the constitution of this country said that Article
I
370
believe
was a
and I
temporary
do respect.
legislation. Excuse
and
me.
it was the same constitution
Excuse me,
which
ma'am.
had given me Article 370.
No, one second,
It
one
was
second.
the same constitution.
But listen to me. Again, you're speaking over me. You're not letting me ask you the question. Miss Masood, keep your ears open. I'm asking you a simple, straightforward question. You believe in the constitution of India? Yes.
I
you
do
do.
believe so.
Okay. So now let me
you
ask
too
you.
must
Did
be.
that same constitution not say that Article 370 was a temporary provision? Yes or no? Yes? No?
It was for the Constituent Assembly to
Madam,
abrogate it,
you
to
know
modify it.
that is a absolute.
Do you believe in Supreme
that
Court
is-
verdict?
No, hang on. The
Do you
Supreme
believe in
Court.
Supreme
Excuse
Court
me, ma'am.
verdicts? The
Excuse
same
me,
Supreme
ma'am.
Court.
Excuse
the
me, ma'am. The same
Honorable
Supreme Court has said.
says that
Okay, you're not
it
going to
had-
let me speak.
With the passage of time.
Okay, you're not letting me
with the
speak, and
passage
I'll
of
bring
time,
out
it
the
has
quote
become
of the
permanent.
Supreme Court. Excuse me, madam. Please let me speak. The same Supreme Court has then questioned the rationale, viewers, because they said that the Constituent Assembly no longer exists. So how can something that doesn't exist anymore and it was not supposed to exist beyond a certain point in our
Rahul, we
history?
should wait for
Ma'am, you're
the-
not
we
letting
should
me
wait for
speak.
the verdict.
You're
These
not
are
letting me
all
speak.
arguments. These
Okay.
are all arguments.
You're not letting me speak, madam. I'm only quoting an observation of the
You are giving
Supreme
the
Court.
verdict. You are giving the
Okay,
verdict.
you're not
Wait for
listening to
that.
me. You're not listening to me. I only said that this is an observation by the Supreme Court. I didn't say it's the verdict by the Supreme Court. If you're going to speak over me, you're not going to understand what I'm saying, and you're a lawyer.
Yet to pass the judgment.
Okay, let me bring
It
in
is yet to
Tehseen
pass the
Poonawala.
judgment.
Tehseen Poonawala, let me ask you, and you have to be your provocative best because you have to outdo the other three panelists tonight. Modi gets people to change their mind because he pays them something or he gives them something. You respond on that question. Do you agree or disagree?
Good evening, Rahul. Thank you for having me on the show. In this panel, if there's anyone who at one point was friends with Shehla, I think it was me. I was friends with her. And the term that I coined, left loony, came from some of the people that I would see hang out with her because they truly were loonies. And I can share an experience. I was once invited for a iftar party and I ran. I left all these left loonies and ran because the Pakistani ambassador to India, then Pakistani ambassador, a man who writes nonsense on Twitter now, was the chief guest. So I had to share stage and I ran away from them. So I always knew that lefties were loonies. But Shehla, the bit, and I actually congratulated Smita today on this interview, and I DM'd Shehla. I'm not in touch with her now, so I DM'd her that it was very nice. There are two aspects to this. Aspect number one, can people have a change of heart? Of course, people can have a change of heart. Why not? Can people think that there is a light on the other side? Of course, people can think there's light on the other side. Particularly if you have Amit Shah's home ministry pushing you to show you that there is light on the other side. You just don't know if at the end of the tunnel that's light coming or that's a train coming. But today, I want to applaud all the BJP supporters, all the BJP supporters. I really want to applaud. Until yesterday, they were abusing. Today, they have to praise. Kare to kare ka, jaye to jaye ka, wah Modi ji, wah karte aap chup baitho. Because now the washing powder Modi ji cleans all the allegations. And that's the problem. The problem with the BJP is it goes one end, then it goes the other end. What Shehla said about Kashmir, I was one of the first vocal people. I'd spoken then to Jyotiraditya Scindia and Dipinder Hooda on withdrawal of 370. It was a great decision by the Prime Minister, stood by that. But what I didn't stand, and I challenged in court, and I was the first one to go in court, and then my case was clubbed with Anuradha Bhasin, was that the Article 21 and Article 14 and Article 19 were subsequently pressed when the internet cut happened. And the Supreme Court then ruled in my favor, said the right to internet is a fundamental right under Article 19. So I was against the way it was abrogated. I was for the abrogation. That's the first point of it. As so far as the government is concerned, if we were to think that this government has magnanimity, then in both cases, Shehla and Shah Faisal, the government has, at least in case of Shah Faisal, gone out of its way to accommodate him. I have never seen another case of an IS officer, another case where the government has bent backwards to accommodate an IS officer who's retired, and in post him, he's going to get posted in Delhi. And Shah Faisal is a great human being.
But that's insaniyat, isn't it, Mr. Poonawala? Shouldn't we welcome this insaniyat? You've been asking for insaniyat, and now when you get it, you don't want to accept it.
I accept that I don't know.
Okay, now another point I want to, another point. For years altogether, I have heard Sushil Pandit on this very channel and other channels and with me say that we should encourage people entering the mainstream. End this separatism. So tomorrow somebody decides, like Shehla Rashid, that look, we've been out of it for too long. We need to work within the contours of our own constitution, respect our own constitution. We said something horrible in the past. And if that epiphany has come to them and they want to be part of the mainstream, which was at one time dominated, viewers, by separatists in Kashmir, they were the mainstream. They were the stakeholders. And I remember Sushil Pandit used to be very upset about that. Interviews were conducted with these absolute, sorry to say, quote unquote, skullduggerous characters. Now someone has left those ranks, has come into the mainstream, seen the light, and we are saying that she's paid or bribed. Now, Mr. Pandit, is that right?
Can I come in here?
Or should we condemn everybody to the... One second, should we just condemn everybody to the fringes
No.
forever?
No, but if you bring these people in, what happens to the original
I
pundits?
agree with you. I did say that. But our problem, you know what Rahul Shiv Shankar, our problem has been in Kashmir.
Yes, sir.
Those who were the mainstream but were hobnobbing with the terrorists were actually taking an oath of allegiance on our constitution, an oath of allegiance to the flag. And after getting into mainstream, they were subverting the system from within. So I have a huge amount of skepticism about those who utter words, who sing Ram Dhun in Delhi, who talk about Bharat Mata Ki Jai in Jammu, and then sup with Hurriyat in Kashmir.
Where is the Hurriyat today in Kashmir?
So I don't take what
Mr.
they
Pandit,
say on face value.
where is the Hurriyat today in Kashmir? No, one second. Where is the Hurriyat?
I have one question.
One second, Mr. Pandit, where is the Hurriyat today in Kashmir?
No, I'm talking about those mainstream you were
Now
alleging
let me
about.
tell you, viewers, things have
Those-
changed dramatically.
There was
So much so
mainstream and
that
there
even
is-
today,
there are people willing to get into mainstream by talking good.
by talking
I
good,
don't
because
when
there was
their
okay.
true
Let's not.
colors will be seen.
Okay, one second. You see, viewers, there's a different culture at work. At one time, you could do under the table deals. You could swing from one side to the other. You could become overground after being underground. You could become mainstream after you were a separatist. And then in the mainstream, you could continue to be a separatist and nothing would happen because a particular ecosystem nurtured you. Today, that ecosystem is gone. And it's gone with 370, both gone. The enabling architecture is gone.
It is not gone
and so
yet,
have the
Rahul.
people
That's
gone.
the
Well, we are
problem.
on the way, sir. Rome wasn't, as they say, built in a day, but we are
Jihad
getting there.
has become
We're getting there.
asymptomatic.
You are preaching to the converted.
we are
You're
looking
preaching
with
to the
age-
converted. You're preaching to
asymptomatic
somebody who
jihad.
writes about this almost every day in the mainstream and gets abused for it. So, but it takes time.
Yes.
And,
Rahul.
you know, we need jaw for jaw response. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, yes.
Rahul.
Yeah, just briefly 3 points. No, of course, I'm sorry I could not hear Tehseen, and I do admit that he knows Shehla Rashid like the back of his hand. But what I want
Not
to
like
make
the back of my hand.
all right, sorry, I mean, pun
Not
not
like
intended.
the back of my hand.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry,
I mean-
couple of points. You know, I mean, look, show me one politician, and this is directed to my dear elder brother Sushil ji, who hasn't done a volte-face or who hasn't done a U-turn. And as far as, I mean, you had Farooq Abdullah, who was part of NDA 1, who said Allah would want that we would separate from India. We had Mehbooba Mufti, who was part of NDA 2, who said rivers of blood would flow. We don't respect Indian flags and all sorts of things. We want Sharia, we want stoning in Kashmir. Show me one politician. And as far as, you know, Mr. Sushil Pandit saying that the motivation of Modi is not very known to us, may not be known to us, I give you one simple example. Narendra Modi called Mr. Ajit Pawar corrupt and guilty of 70,000 crore scam. The next day, he was inducted in the government. Can we not guess what the motivation was? So let's not go there. And as far as just final 10
No, we should go there. Dr. Ranganathan, no, we should go there. Let's actually extend that logic. By your logic then, anyone who's making a switch from any other party and joining the BJP must have done it because they were promised something. Is that what you're saying?
Not promised, or they have sacrificed.
Take a position. Take a position. You've taken a position on Shehla Rashid. Now I'm asking you. Are you trying to say, one second, Dr. Raman, one second. I'm asking one doctor a question. Now I can't admit, you know, another doctor into the ward. So let me keep it one way. Okay. I'm the Dean of Medicine here. Okay. Now let me ask Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, let me ask you. Any Muslim now that is voting for the BJP, are you suggesting, sir, by that logic, is doing so because he's one of the beneficiaries of this Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, and he won't get the same from another government? I think that would be a bit too cynical.
Yeah, that's generalizing. I'm not saying everyone. I'm talking about politicians, and I'm saying as a rule, rather than an exception, politicians are hypocrites. And just 10 seconds I wanted to add, because I do agree. I do agree with Miss Masood. You know, when she, for someone, I don't think she can be brainwashed, because for someone to say that Burhan Wani was not a terrorist, Hamas is not a terror organization, you need a brain to be brainwashed.
Precisely. I'll leave it at this, viewers. Look, whether we want to take Shehla Rashid at face value or we want to accept the facts as they are, that, look, she has been given a sinecure, as some of our skeptical, uber skeptical panelists are saying, time will tell. None of us have a crystal ball. But as of today, viewers, I can tell you that maybe a letter might be written by one of the others who were involved in the same case that she was, from the same university, to say, yaar, mere liye bhi kuch kar do, main bhi aapki jai jaikar karunga, ya karungi. So viewers, we might actually see a whole bunch of the tukre, so-called tukre gang becoming nationalists, not even patriots, but uber nationalists. It wouldn't be such a bad idea, actually. I'll leave it at that, viewers. We come back to a very important subject that we are going to discuss. Don't go away, stay with me.
Hello, Moto.
Or schemes can be made by the government to make sure that the AQI remains under breathable levels, because over the past 1 week we have seen that the AQI had deteriorated, which meant that there were a lot of health issues that people of the national capital were actually facing. So the next 1 week is going to be very, very important, especially from the point of view of the Delhi government and the Delhi administration, to make sure that schemes are made and implemented in such a way that the AQI remains under control and it does not become hazardous for the people out here in the national capital.
जैसा दिल्ली सरकार ने कहा था कि फायर क्रैकर्स बर्न नहीं करने, लेकिन उस हिसाब से फायर क्रैकर्स बहुत ज़्यादा जलाए गए हैं दिल्ली में। जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ भी मेरे को बहुत देखने को मिला ये, तो मैं परेशान होकर रात को सो नहीं पाया, फिर सुबह साइकिलिंग करने निकल गया। जब से ये न्यूज़ आई थी पराली जल रही है, तो तब से मैं निकलता हूँ फील करने के लिए कि क्या वेदर में चेंज हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, बट हुआ है चेंज।
ये मतलब पोल्यूशन का ही है ज़्यादा, तो मेन से तो बाकी तो सब बढ़िया है। ऐसा मास्क वगैरह भी नहीं लेके आए हम, उधर क्या सब कुछ ठीक है, यहीं पे थोड़ा सा परेशानी है।
After the relief that people of the national capital got just a few days ago after light spells of rains had engulfed the national capital, which meant that the AQI had come down significantly and was hovering in the poor category. Now post Diwali, we are seeing that the AQI has again deteriorated. Currently, I am reporting from Kartavyapath and just move to the frame and try and show you in the visuals over here that another layer of smog has yet again engulfed the national capital. But remember, this is not only smog, but what experts are saying that there is element of fog that is also in these visuals that you are seeing on your screens right now. So yes, the AQI has deteriorated after Diwali, but remember the AQI was already in the severe category at least 2 to 3 days ago, and today as well the AQI is still hovering within the very poor to poor category, but yet it is still very difficult for people to breathe out here. Remember the manner in which the Supreme Court orders of not bursting any sort of crackers was flouted yesterday. There were several cases that were seen out here in the national capital where this order of the Supreme Court of not bursting any sort of cracker was definitely flouted. In fact, the fire department itself had got more than 100 calls till 10 p.m. itself. So it actually shows that the people of the national capital, in fact the majority of the people of the national
Viewers, we are still, of course, basking in the glory of yesterday's heroics at the Vanka Day. It was the Shami final, as some people have called it, pun intended, of course, because he just really ran through the Kiwi batting lineup, taking 7 wickets, setting a record in his own right. And the Prime Minister and the Home Minister and several other Indians came out and congratulated Shami, saying this performance will be remembered for generations, adding that India has entered the finals like a boss. This is what the tall leaders as well as so many others have been saying. But what was the Congress party's reaction? Top leaders from the Youth Congress chief to Manikam Tagore have hit back at the BJP, saying the Sanghis who once criticized Shami are now coming to praise him, highlighting that it was actually Rahul Gandhi who had backed Shami the longest. Viewers, even cricket has now become a tool for politics, and let's open this up because this is rather sad and unfortunate. And let me open this up and let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, I cannot believe this. These are very senior leaders of the Congress party, part of Rahul Gandhi's coterie, and they are saying that, look, Prime Minister, आज तो आपने उनको बड़ी बातें कही, but संघियों ने तो इनको 2 साल पहले इतनी गालियां दी. I mean, are we playing the identity card now in the cricket field?
Rahul, it is totally believable, because remember when what happened to Shami a couple of years ago, and when supposedly Rahul Gandhi came to the rescue, they weren't Sanghis who actually abused him. This was corroborated by proper authentic documentation from IT ministry as well and from other sources. They were Pakistani bots. They actually got in and started abusing Shami, and those tweets of abusing Shami were then amplified by Congress leaders and that other so-called ecosystem. So it fitted in very nicely with their thing of, oh, let us abuse the right wing and let us abuse the Modi supporters because they are abusing. They weren't doing that. None of them apologized. In fact, what happened was the other way around. The so-called Sanghis came in support of Shami when Shami was being abused by Muslims for an instance where his wife, they said, was exposing a little bit too much. So, you know, this kind of propaganda that goes on from the other side is absolutely wild. They try and bring in religion, communalism and bigotry into everything. But of course, sooner or later it gets exposed. And that is what will happen in a day or two. Trust me.
What is very worrying, viewers, is to drive this wedge amongst ordinary Indians. Dr. Raman, I'm sure tonight you're going to criticize. You've been a cricket follower.
Mohammad Shami has been a great servant of Indian cricket. He has done consistently well. He has more than 250 wickets in Test cricket, besides the wonderful exploits in ODI cricket and the World Cup. My point is very simple. If this issue is being highlighted now, it is to point out the sheer hypocrisy of those, and I don't agree with Dr. Ranganathan that it was only trolls from Pakistan who put out such tweets. There were people in India who also put out such tweets. By the way, the only cricketer who came out in his defense was Virat Kohli. And Virat Kohli got trolled for supporting him or defending and saying that please don't troll him. So I think that, look, there is a point. If the Congress party or Rahul Gandhi or Manikam Tagore are saying this now, basically it should never happen again. I think that what happened in 2021 should not be allowed to happen again with any Indian cricketer, irrespective of his caste, irrespective of his religion or whatever. And I think that, look, we do not necessarily need to go very far to see such tweets yesterday. Please go and see, please ask Dr. Ranganathan. Many of them were named people and they were all having, at least, I don't know, maybe they were all Pakistani trolls. After he dropped that catch, I mean, within 10 minutes, there were so many vicious tweets. So what are we talking about? So let's be very clear, Rahul. This should not happen. It should not happen ever again. It should not have happened to Mohammad Shami, who has been a fantastic cricketer and who has done this country proud.
Dr.
And I think that
Ranganathan,
is absolutely right that Rahul Gandhi says that he was the one who stuck up for him last time.
Okay.
Please show me tweets from others who stuck up and spoke up for Mohammad Shami.
Okay, Dr. Ranganathan, respond please.
Please remember, one guy, I think from an IIT, is in jail for viciously abusing and saying horrible things about Virat Kohli as well. This happens across the counter. We have abusive trolls, we have fans who get abusive, who are psychopaths. What are we trying to do here? Are we trying to say that there should not exist a single psychopath in the country? I mean, let me take that analogy. There are 120,000 people in that Ahmedabad stadium that day. One boisterous fan shouted Jai Shri Ram and the whole thing blew up as if everyone out there was a communal bigot or whatever it may be. So please don't amplify things that are done by isolated, not even fringe. These are abusive fans and trolls. Are we trying to control what happens here? Are we saying that only Sanghis abuse and Congresses don't abuse, or these so-called people from the DMK don't abuse, or it is, please don't say that Sanatan Dharma is this? Of course, they're going to continue to say that. Are you going to be able to control them, Dr. Raman? No.
Let me ask viewers a simple question. One second, let me ask a very simple question. Has Rahul Gandhi stood up for Aishwarya Rai? Do you know what was said about her by a Pakistani cricketer, viewers? Do you know what the other Pakistani cricketers, some of the legends of the game, did when he actually made those horrible, nasty comments? No, it's not even nasty, they're subhuman comments. Rahul Gandhi didn't stand up for them. Maybe he doesn't see gain, I don't know. Maybe he worries that he might alienate a particular vote bank by doing so. Did Rahul Gandhi come out and comment when a particular Pakistani cricketer sat on a ground and read the namaz, offered prayers, and then said that this is the victory of Muslims over Hindus? Dr. Ranganathan, did he or did he not? I don't remember. I might be completely off base here.
No, of course
Okay.
he didn't.
Of course not. It's interesting, viewers. I'll leave it at this. I've run out of time. I'll leave it at this. Just ponder this thought. Can your condemnation also be selective? And if it is, then what are you doing? You're playing politics. The Right Stand with Poonam Burde. Stay with us.
Bursting crackers, but yes, there was a significant number who were seen flouting these norms and bursting crackers, because of which we are seeing that the AQI has yet again deteriorated out here in the national capital and is yet again in the very, very poor category. Now today, the prediction from the IMD is that once the sun is out, the wind speeds are likely to pick up and these pollutants would yet again be washed away. And that is the only silver lining for the people out here in the national capital. But remember, over the next few days as well, the AQI is likely to remain in the poor to very poor category, and in fact is likely to deteriorate yet again in the severe category as well because of the wind directions. Now what remains to be seen is to what new plans can the Delhi government and the Delhi administration make sure that they initially make, and make sure that is implemented on the ground to the T, so that some sort of immediate relief can be provided to the people out here in the national capital who have been suffering from this deteriorating air quality for at least the last 10 days. Currently, I am reporting from the pollution hotspot out here in the national capital, that is the Anand Vihar bus terminal. And if I could just show you in the visuals around here, the visibility is not as bad as it was expected. The AQI out here in the national capital remains to be in the very poor category, although the measures of GRAP 4 has been implemented. But yes, the manner in which the order of the Supreme Court of not bursting crackers was flouted by several people out here in the national capital, that has made sure that the AQI deteriorates yet again. But if you compare the AQI that is today, the very next day, post-Diwali, with the yesteryears, you can actually see that the AQI is not as bad as it was expected, and in fact, it has somewhere or the other been better than what it was last year at this time around. Also, what we have seen that yes, there were several people who had flouted the norms and had gone ahead and busted crackers through the night on the day of Diwali. But yes, today the AQI has definitely deteriorated, but it is not as bad as it can be seen. On the other hand, we have seen a lot of politics that has already started to happen in this entire matter. The opposition leaders are already coming on record and putting blame on the BJP leaders because they were the people who instigated people to go ahead and burst these crackers. So yes, the political blame game has already started. But if you speak about the AQI has definitely deteriorated post-Diwali, but it is not as bad as it was over the last many years right after the day of Diwali. Currently, I am reporting from Akshardham temple, where I could just show.
Good evening, you're watching The Right Stand here on CNN News 18 with me, Poonam Burde. Let's begin with the highlights of the day. Two 8th century temple idols that were stolen from India and discovered in England are now being brought to India. The Yogini Chamunda and Yogini Gomukhi idols were stolen from a temple in Uttar Pradesh between late 1970s and 1980s. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar presided over the repatriation ceremony in London on the last day of his UK visit. India's goods exports jumped to 6.21% to $33.57 billion in October. In overall exports, major contributions came in from sectors like drugs and pharma, engineering goods, electronic goods, handloom products and glassware. The famous Sabrimala Ayyappa temple opened this evening for the 2-month-long Mandalam pilgrimage. This time, there are stone pillars that have been erected in the temple at the entrance that are expected to win the hearts of the devotees. The pillars are part of an under-construction hydraulic roof for the temple. Jimmy Kimmel is returning